on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Live from Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, this is the Superstore Crimson Tide SEC Championship Game Preview.
Here's the Derrick Henry, near side, big hole, open, he's gonna go! Touchdown, Alabama! 25 yards!
This special presentation is brought to you by the Superstore, your headquarters for official Bama gear. Here is your host, Tom Roberts.
Good evening, everybody. Roll Tide, and welcome to this special edition, this SEC Championship Game Preview, as we're all headed to Atlanta tomorrow to take on the Missouri Tigers in the SEC Championship game. Hopefully, it's going to be number 24 in SEC Championships for our Crimson Tide. For the next 90 minutes, we're going to preview the game, starting with Phil Savage, our color analyst on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. He'll join us next to talk about Missouri and the team we'll be facing on Saturday. Coach Nick Saban's going to join us in about 30 minutes from now. And by the way, the coach was the Dodd Trophy Coach of the Week last week. And no wonder. Can I get a cheer for 55-44 over the Auburn Tigers? It was a beauty, an incredible football game, and right now it means that Alabama is number one in the state of Alabama, number one in the Western Division of the SEC, number one in both the AP and the coaches' rankings, and number one in the playoff selection committee rating. So Crimson Tide doing super. Amari Cooper obviously had a great game against the Tigers, and congratulations to him because he's the SEC Offensive Player of the Week, the Walter Camp National Offensive Player of the Week, the Athlon Sports Player of the Week, and one of the finalists for the Biletnikoff Award. And the guy doing some of the blocking for Amari and for Blake Sims, Austin Shepard, the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. So we got a lot to talk about all those honors for our Bama football players. Our media guest tonight, a very familiar name to all of you. He's Tyler Watts, the Bama quarterback, who's now a member of our Alabama broadcast crew. And he'll be joining us in Atlanta with our coverage starting at high noon on Saturday. This show's all about football, but I got to say one quick word for Alabama volleyball. Crimson Tide today won its first ever NCAA tournament match. Bama knocking off Samford 3-2 in a match down at Tallahassee, Florida. Now the Tide will take on the winner of a later match tonight, Florida State against Jacksonville. The winner of that one plays Alabama tomorrow night at 6 o'clock in Tallahassee. All right, you folks here at Bob's Victory Grill, Jessica Weiger will be standing at the corner of the bar with a microphone if you want to ask questions. If you're sitting there at home, our phone number is 877-202-2262. We're going to join Phil Savage on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Hotline coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Looking for the ultimate tire for your performance luxury touring vehicle? Look no further than the new Ventus S1 Noble 2 from Hankook Tire. Packed with the latest design and compounding elements focused on maximizing efficient water evacuation, providing impressive wet handling and braking, increasing cornering grip, and improving winter condition traction. The Ventus S1 Noble 2 is the ideal balance of all-season and ultra-high performance. To see more of the Ventus S1 Noble 2, visit Tires Plus in Huntsville. Be one with it. Hankook Tires.
Jan here, and Toyotathon is on. This year it's so big that I got an intern.
Jan's intern here. Come in for huge deals on new Toyotas. Toyotathon is the biggest event of the year, and it ends January 5th.
No, I say that.
Okay, what do I say?
Can I get your dry cleaning, some coffee, a big piece of cake?
Toyotathon is on. Get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2015 Toyota Camry. Offer valid November 4th through January 5th, 2015. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every $1,000 financed is $27.78. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Game day brings out the best in all of us. Leadership, teamwork, tradition, spirit. These are the things we love about college athletics. They're also the values that drive the associates at Regions Bank to bring you the products, advice, and financial guidance you need to move life forward. Because at Regions, every day is game day. Regions, official bank of the SEC. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Dogged determination, painstaking perfection, an uncompromising will to be the very best. These are the things that make a winner. And you'll also know a winner by what they wear. University of Alabama apparel and products from the Soup Store. The Soup Store has the licensed merchandise you want, including shirts, hats, and other gear in every size imaginable. Show your Crimson Tide pride. Go to soupstore.ua.edu. That's supestore.ua.edu.
You're listening to Guy Talk live from the Sport Clips Haircuts locker room. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, boxers or briefs?
Speaking briefly, boxers. Unless you're a boxer, then I go briefs. Next caller.
I want to find my nearest Sport Clips, but I don't want to ask for directions.
Use sportclips.com. It's actually Guy approved. At Sport Clips, you'll get an awesome MVP haircut experience while watching sports on TV. Your head'll glow like a freshly mowed Major League outfield. This has been Guy Talk, brought to you by Sport Clips, where it's good to be a guy.
Welcome back to the Soup Store Crimson Tide SEC Championship Game Preview. Alabama taking on the Missouri Tigers Saturday afternoon at the Georgia Dome. One of the gentlemen who will be helping us broadcast the game is our color analyst in the Crimson Tide Sports Network, the director of the Reese's Senior Bowl as well. And let's go to Mobile on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to one Phil Savage. Phil, how you doing on this Thursday evening?
Well, I'm good, Tom. This was a very fast week. It seems like we just talked a few minutes ago, and that was Monday night, and here we are, literally 48 hours away from finding out who the SEC champion is going to be this year.
Well, we hope it'll be the 24th SEC championship for our Crimson Tide. Let's talk about the opposition for Saturday, the Missouri Tigers. And I guess when you start talking about them, you got to talk about their defense. It is a very stingy defense, isn't it?
Well, it is a defense that is built around their front four, and that group is led by Marcus Golden and Shane Ray, two defensive ends that have combined for 20.5 sacks. The Missouri Tigers, 36% of the time, have forced a gain of 0 or negative yardage, and so they put teams behind the sticks, off schedule, and then they turn this pass rush loose with the front four and play a heavy dose of zone coverage. So I think the game plan for Missouri is going to be, look, we're going to try to get Alabama stopped on the early down, put them in 3rd and long, and try to keep Blake Sims contained in the pocket and play 7 men back in pass coverage and make him win as a traditional passer rather than someone that can get out on the edge with bootlegs and sprint out type passes.
Does that make the offensive line an even bigger, crucial ingredient in this ball game for Bama?
Well, I think, as always, a lot will weigh on the offensive line and the tight ends and Jalston Fowler. And, you know, it's imperative that Bama be productive on 1st and 2nd down to avoid those 3rd and 7 or longer situations. And if Alabama can do that and find some success on 1st and 2nd down, then they're going to continue converting at a better than 50% rate, which is what Alabama has done all year, because at 3rd and 4 or less, now you bring in the idea that Blake Sims can go run for a 1st down. You can give him a run-pass option. You can even run the ball on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. And so that's going to be a huge key early down success for Alabama's offense.
All right, let's talk about the Missouri offense, and you have to start with Matty Mock. He's been really hot the last 5 games, passing for better than 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. What does he do well?
You know, he's a quarterback that has been very uneven until these recent weeks, and most of that coincides with their offensive line being stabilized after the Indiana and Georgia games. They went back, shuffled the deck, inserted some different players, and they've been better up front, and that's definitely helped Matty Mock. He's got a long motion as a thrower. He's capable as a passer, but I think the thing that I would be most fearful of is the fact that he can pull the ball down and run for a 1st down. He's a better athlete than you would think, and it seems like every team we've played this year, they have a big receiver on the outside in Bud Sasser, who's really emerged as their go-to guy on the perimeter. And then, of course, Russell Hansbrough and Marcus Murphy, the two running backs, were very effective against Arkansas. They actually outrushed the Razorbacks last Friday afternoon, so they can play physical football as well. So that's the defense and the offense. And then, to me, one of the real keys for the Tide Saturday is going to be containing Marcus Murphy. one of the preeminent returners in all of college football. He's got 7 career touchdowns, including one against Alabama in 2012 when he took a 98-yard kickoff back for a score.
That makes even more important for J.K. Scott to do an incredible job, and I thought he was amazing against Auburn. 2 punts, average of 55.5, 70 yards on one of them, and most importantly, 0 yards in returns.
Yeah, he's just been a real key to Alabama's success this year. 11 wins against only 1 loss, and J.K. Scott, to me, has been one of the top 3 or 4 producers for Alabama this year in terms of his ability to flip the field, A, but then B, pin people back inside the 20, almost over 50% of his punts being down inside the 20. That's been real pivotal this year for an Alabama team that seems to have really improved over the course of the season.
Well, Phil, thanks for joining us for a scouting report on the Missouri Tigers. Be careful going to Atlanta. We'll see you at the Georgia Dome.
Okay, Tom, very good. Roll Tide. I'm headed to Atlanta as we speak.
That sounds great. Phil Savage, our color analyst on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and he'll be a part of our coverage, which starts noon Saturday here on the network. And if you want to download the Alabama Game Day app and get every digital football game day program free, it's easy. You just search for Alabama Game Day from your app store, and update for every single game, including Saturday's SEC title game. Download it now. The official Alabama Game Day app presented by Adobe DPS. Your best way to mobilize the Tide. We're going to take a listen to some of the highlights of the Iron Bowl coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son.
Hey, Dad.
What's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Well, it's just sort of.
Hello, Dad.
Susan? Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and maybe see some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up
For those caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Superstore SEC Championship game preview. Alabama against Missouri. Of course, the Crimson Tide coming off an incredible 55-44 win over the Auburn Tigers. If you're sitting at home or here at Bob's Victory Grill, get prepared to applaud, cheer, whatever you want to do, because right now we're going to listen to the highlights of the game with Eli Gold.
Now, man in motion, Cooper to the right, gets 3 wides there. Here's a handoff, Yeldon kicks it to the near side. First down, 20, 15, and out of bounds. It's the first down of the ball game behind Ari Kwanzo and Ryan Kelly's blocks. Here now the toss, behind blocking, Yeldon, stutter step, first down, absorbs a hit. He's going to go, touchdown, Alabama! An 8-yard carry behind a wall wall of blocking on the left side, and the Crimson Tide drawing first blood, taking advantage of a turnover, and it's now 6-0 for the good guys. Now Sims with Yeldon to his left, looks, throws the fade route, corner of the end zone, Cooper, he's there, he's got it, touchdown Alabama, 17 yards, a magnificent throw, a spectacular catch, and Alabama's in business again with a fade route touchdown for the Tide. He'll put his right foot to it. Christian comes up, makes the grab, does not call fair catch, turns it upfield 20, 25, 30, goes left 35, he's to the 40, gets hit and put down there. Great field position by Alabama. A 37-yard punt and the 28-yard run back by Christian Jones from the far hash mark. Sims in the shotgun, deploys Amari Cooper, looks, everybody's covered, Sims is going to throw, finds a wide open Christian Jones, complete, out of bounds at the 9-yard line. Here's the give, Yeldon up the middle, he is to the goal line, he is in! Touchdown behind the beat. He went between right guard and right tackle, and there was no doubt. Another touchdown for T.J. Yeldon, his second of the night, and Bama reassumes the lead late in the first half. Sims, play action, stands in the pocket, looks long, Cooper wide open, he's got it, touchdown Alabama! He burned Jonathan Ford for the second time tonight. It was a 39-yard touchdown pass for the Alabama touchdown. Blake Sims, play action, loads up, looks long, Amari Cooper behind the D, he's got it, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, bingo! 75 yards, burning Jonathan Mincy. Man, did Bama need that. Marshall's on the run, he'll get to the edge, he'll throw back across the field, and it is picked off by Alabama. Picked off and brought back by Nick Perry. He's to the near sideline and tripped up at the 30. Nick Perry, his second interception of the year. A 24-yard run back. Here's Sims, straight drop, looks. Everybody's covered, he's going to run. He's to the 10, he's to the 5. He's going to go to the angle of the end zone. Touchdown, 11 yards. Blake Sims gives Alabama the lead. Here's Sims, shotgun. He's got it. He stutter steps, throws a BB to the goal line. It is caught for the two-point conversion. A BB of a pass. Two wides to the near side. The snap. Marshall under pressure. He's hit. He is still on his feet. Now he's put down for the first sack of the game. Xavier Dixon, come on down. DeAndrew White in motion. Rolling right Sims. Looks. Everybody's covered. He unloads end zone. Amari Cooper. Touchdown over to DeAndrew White with the touchdown. Marshall steps up. Sidearm throw. Caught at the 10-yard line. He is not going to get there. They stop him. He made the grab at the 10. He needed the 6. And Marcus Davis denied. And Alabama takes over on downs. Alabama takes over on downs. Derrick Henry is in. Remember, every time he's been in, Bama has thrown the football long. This time, though, they give it to Derrick for his third run of the night. He finds running room. He's to the 40. He's to the 45-50. He's down the right side, 40, 35-30. He's to the 25-yard line. No need to throw it long. Let him run it long. 49 yards from the 25 of Auburn. Here's the give, Henry. Near side, big hole, open. He's going to go. Touchdown, Alabama. 25 yards. Pressure from behind. And now Jonathan Allen comes in. Sack number 2 of Nick Marshall tonight. He's going to line up way in the backfield as the safety valve here. He's not going to get anywhere near the fray as Bama takes the victory formation. But how classy to put Brian Vogler out there to celebrate at midfield as Alabama wins the Iron Bowl.
It was a great win, 55-44 over the Auburn Tigers. Now we're headed to Atlanta to take on Missouri. We'll check the Cooper Tire performances of the week coming up next. And you can show your Crimson Tide pride with officially licensed University of Alabama merchandise from the Soup Store. Shirts, hats, other gear in every size imaginable. Soupstore.ua.edu. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Do game day right. With LG, it's all possible. LG home appliances are right in step with your busy world. The largest capacity washer in its class saves you up to 20 minutes per load, even on larger loads. LG's door-and-door refrigerators offer instant access to gotta-have snacks. And with LG Easy Clean, you've got a sparkling oven in minutes. Come check out the latest in LG innovations at your local Best Buy or online at bestbuy.com/LG.
As your Alpha Insurance agent, I can help you customize a plan that'll save you money while still protecting your family.
Saving $10, $15, $20 a month makes a big difference for families.
We're able to give you a better product for a better price with better service.
I try to give the customers the kind of service that I want myself.
And that has value. You can't get that online.
We have a great product, a great claim service, and it's a real value buy.
For the best agents in the business, call Alpha.
Hi, Santa. I want a Ford Fusion.
All the boys and girls this year have been telling me they all want a Ford vehicle through video chats and chirps and text messages, you name it.
All I want is a new Ford Super Duty.
Ah, it's probably because of the Ford Dream Big sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. So obviously these children have visions of cool Ford vehicles dancing in their heads.
Can I please get a Ford Escape?
Oh, I hope that Ford has a much bigger workshop than we do.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Bud Light and NFL fans, this is the legend of Gail Hammerschmidt, who once tailgated 34 straight games, even grilling out in torrential downpours, and who could run a 4.440 to the mini fridge for an ice-cold Bud Light. But there are many legends like Gail, and Bud Light's rewarding them with experiences like an ultimate NFL weekend. Bud Light, the perfect beer for whatever happens.
Ultimate NFL experience open to U.S. residents 21 plus. No purchase necessary. Ends 12/31/14. See upforwhatever.com for details. Void where prohibited. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa to the Superstore SEC Championship Game preview. And right now, let's take a look at the Cooper Tire Performance of the Week. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go. Visit CooperTire.com to find your local Cooper Tires dealer. Obviously, the Performance of the Week was that by Amari Cooper. Tied the school record for receiving yards in the game with 224 on 13 catches for 3 touchdowns. He's now the school record holder for receiving touchdowns in a single season and career receptions. Also, the coaching staff decided to go with Jalston Fowler and Austin Shepard on offense, Nick Perry and Geno Smith on defense, then Sean Dion Hamilton, Christian Jones, and J.K. Scott making the special teams list. And a quick note about some of our Bama players in the pros. Running back Mark Ingram carried the ball 23 times for a total of 122 yards in the Saints' victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Eddie Lacy also helped the Packers to a big win on Sunday, piled up 115 yards from scrimmage in Green Bay's win over the New England Patriots. And then how about Julio Jones, a career-high 189 receiving yards as the Falcons handed the Arizona Cardinals their 3rd loss of the season. So good performances all around, brought to you by Cooper Tires. All right, we're going to talk to our media guest, Tyler Watts, coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Hey, Alabama fans, Academy Sports and Outdoors is the place to go when you need the gear to support your team. Academy is your one-stop shop for Crimson Tide jerseys, t-shirts, caps, novelty items, and more at everyday low prices. Be sure to visit your local Academy store or academy.com to stock up on Crimson Tide gear for the season. Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The right stuff, the low price, every day. Academy.
Nothing means it's game day like ice cold Coke Zero, because zero means it's game day.
What about when...
No.
But you don't even know what I was going to say.
Were you going to say zero means it's game day, so therefore nothing means it's game day like Coke Zero?
No, but...
Then it doesn't matter, does it? The refreshing taste of Coke Zero. Zero means it's game day.
Hey, this is Coach Nick Saban. Like you, Coke Zero is a proud sponsor of the Crimson Tide. So when you're enjoying the game this season, feel free to crack open a Coke Zero and enjoy that too. Roll Tide.
Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama is the authorized dealer for Toyota forklifts, the world's #1 forklift manufacturer right here in the USA. Toyota Materials Handling has short and long-term rentals available ranging from 3 to 36,000 pounds, and they provide parts and service for any model forklift. Ask Toyota Materials Handling about their no hidden fees guarantee and service loaner program. Call Toyota Materials Handling of Alabama today and speak with their consultants. Call toll-free 866-957-2250 or go online to toyotamaterials.com.
Ready for this week's game? We're talking the rumbling roar of Big Al and another epic Roll Tide. But we're also talking great pizza. As a proud sponsor of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Red Baron Pizza is kicking off your game day at tailgateatyourplace.com. Score big with awesome party ideas, winning recipes, and impressive school trivia. Plus, a chance to win over $150,000 in prizes. Red Baron, Roll Tide.
Welcome back to the Soup Store Crimson Tide SEC Championship Game Preview. Coach Nick Saban is going to join us shortly here at Bob's Victory Grill. Joining us on stage right now, our media guest for the week, a member of our Crimson Tide Sports Network crew and a quarterback for the University of Alabama, Tyler Watts. How you doing, my man?
I'm wonderful, Tom. Thank you for having me on.
Last time we talked on the air was halftime on Saturday night. I think both of us were going, what in the world's going on? Little did we know what was about to happen.
Well, if you also remember, the last thing we talked about was we better have some good things to talk about in postgame, and we had exactly that. They turned it around the second half. The defense found their way, got a couple of stops, and offensively, 5 possessions, I believe, in a row where we scored touchdowns, and that ended up being the difference of the game. Let them kick field goals. We're going to score touchdowns.
We've talked about Blake Sims all season long, and I thought Saturday night, he throws his third pick. He comes to the sidelines, and Lane Kiffin immediately starts talking to him. Jacob Coker gets up, starts warming up. I don't think there was ever any doubt about who was going to go back out on the field. Do you?
Well, that really shows the confidence that the coaching staff had in their player, in Blake, and his ability to go out there and really turn around. I don't think people understand how rattled you can get as a quarterback when things aren't going well and you're making some errant throws, some bad decisions, and all of a sudden you start doubting yourself. So for him to go out there in the second half after those 3 interceptions and I think complete, 10 of the next 11, 11 of the next 11 passes, that's impressive. That's impressive.
What causes that turnaround in your mind?
Well, once you get the first completion or two under your belt and that confidence slowly starts to come back around and you're finding your rhythm and you start getting in that groove once again. But that's something that very few people can you're telling yourself,
of course.
All right, I got this, I need to do this, I need to do this. Don't worry. Hey, it's human nature. You're going to worry, you're going to press, you're going to struggle, and that showed a lot of maturity to me.
It certainly did. Well, we're going to talk more about Blake and about the Auburn game, but of course Missouri coming up in the SEC Championship game. Coach Nick Saban will join us shortly. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. We're at Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, where Baumhauer's legendary wings, the perfect combination of food and football, which is what every Alabamian prides themselves in. We'll talk more about that. But head coach Nick Saban joins us next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
It's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and if you think I'm just gonna keep ticking away, you're wrong. I can quit whenever I want, but I like my job. Just treat me better. Maybe we can do some exercise on occasion? After all, we're in this together.
Don't let your heart quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
This year, firefighters will battle thousands of wildfires around the country in hopes of containing them. But a single ember that escapes can travel more than 1 mile, where it can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where the ember will land, only what happens when it does. Prepare, protect, prevail. Get fire adapted. Learn simple steps you could take now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm 1 out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, parents of children with asthma, here's another hit from the Breathe Easies.
Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold. Whoa. Mold can trigger asthma in kids young and old. Come on and clean up the mold. Whoa. Clean up the mold in your house. Whoa.
This song may be fun, but childhood asthma is not. Preventing asthma attacks can be as simple as cleaning up the mold and mildew in your house. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Bob's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa to our Soup Store Crimson Tide SEC Championship Game Preview. Coach Nick Saban will be joining shortly. His team coming off the practice field about an hour or so ago. Tyler Watts, our media guest. And Tyler, you've done a little scouting this week on Missouri. What's the key for Bama on Saturday?
Well, a lot of people have really covered all the basics of this game. One thing that kind of stands out to me is where we are in turnover ratio.
Yeah.
We're on the not-so-good side, so to speak, and Missouri is. I think they're second in the conference with that. So we got into some problems earlier in the year as a result of that. We've got to make sure that we keep it clean.
As I always say, the applause is not for Tyler. It's not for me. It is for the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, who's joining us live here at Bob's Victory Grill. Looking dapper as usual in the sweater. The coach joining us now on stage for our preview of the SEC Championship game. Coach, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing super. Glad
Good.
to have you with us. Tyler Watts sitting between us, and he's got the first real question of the night. So go for it, Tyler.
All right, Coach. In the second half, you decided to go back with Bradley Silv. He had really struggled in the West Virginia game, but did an outstanding job shutting down their wide receivers against Auburn. How rewarding is that as a coach to see a guy struggle, work hard, get a chance to come back in the game and perform the way that Bradley Silv did? And what kind of impact and what does that say to the other players in the locker room?
Well, you know, I think the big thing is there's certain positions that you just can't play if you don't have confidence. And there's also certain positions that you just can't play if you don't have resiliency. In other words, I always tell every quarterback, you played quarterback, you know I played quarterback, you're going to make some bad plays. You're going to throw an interception someday. You're also, if you're playing corner, you're going to get beat. But how that affects your next play is probably the most important thing. And when a guy loses his confidence when he gets beat, because Bradley had an outstanding camp for us. You know, he's got great speed, and he really can keep people cut off and play the ball in the deep part of the field. And just got in the West Virginia game and just didn't play with any confidence. And as soon as he got beat one time, it's just like he wouldn't play the ball and he didn't play with any confidence. So it was great to see him come back. He worked hard all season long. And then he was able to take advantage of the opportunity when it came. And I think there's a great lesson in that for all players and all people, really, that things don't go the way you'd like for them to. You have some adversity, you get a setback, but you keep working hard, and then when you get an opportunity, you can take advantage of it. And that's exactly what Bradley did, and he did play very well for us, you know, in the second half of that game.
Talking about adversity, Blake Sims, 3 interceptions. But my goodness, he just turned it around completely in the last quarter and a half, didn't he?
Well, you know, I don't want to really say, but when the other quarterbacks start warming up, it's kind of time to turn it on, you know? I mean, let's face it.
Yeah. Well, he did.
You know, Blake, though, really, when Blake can stay focused and just be serious about what he has to do and not get affected by a whole bunch of other stuff, that's when he plays the best. I mean, he really does. Yeah. And sometimes when we play in big games, and obviously, you know, the game last week's a big game from an emotional standpoint for everyone. It gets him a little bit out of sorts, all right? And I think that he just settled down. You know, when he realized, hey, if I don't start playing like I'm supposed to and do what I'm supposed to do and I'm not going to be in here, I think he just settled him down.
Well, he did a great job, obviously, down the stretch. All right, and the best seat in the house from Birmingham, April Phillips and Chuck Thomason. And up here from New Orleans, we got Randall Singer and Jamie Singer, and Randall's got the microphone. So you get the question for the coach. Go for it, Randall.
All right. Thanks for having us, Coach. And first and foremost, roll Tide.
Thank you.
All right. What specific trait or characteristic comes to mind when you think about the 2014 team so far? What distinguishes this year's team from other teams you have coached in the years past?
Well, I think that resiliency would be the one word that comes to mind the quickest for me. You know, of all the teams that we've had since we've been here, we haven't had any team that's come from behind more often than this team has, whether it's at LSU or Arkansas or last week against Auburn. So, you know, that would be the first word that comes to mind. You know, we've had some dominant teams that, you know, won games by big margins, got off fast and knew how to finish and, you know, played with great consistency. This team hasn't played with great consistency all the time. I think when they're focused and they played pretty well, but there have been times where we didn't play very well in the first half last week. We gave up a lot of big plays. We actually gave up like 17 points in the last 23 minutes of the first half and the first possession of the second half. So, you know, there's a lot of things that are self-inflicted wounds that we need to get corrected as a team, because you don't want to give other teams those kinds of opportunities. But you got to give this team credit more than any team that I've had since we've been here, is they overcome it. They know how to overcome it. I mean, they don't get frustrated. They don't put their head down. They just keep playing, and we make some plays and get the momentum of the game back, and they seem to always be able to do it when they need it most. So that would be what I would say the trademark of this team has been all year long.
Let's go to the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline. You know who the first phone caller is. From Grand Bay, Alabama, Pee Wee's on the line. Roll Tide, Pee Wee.
Roll Tide.
Pee Wee, what's going on, man?
Just another wonderful day, Coach.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take it easy on you this week. Since we won without you last week, we'll be all right.
Well, I was kind of hoping you was going to feel that way. I really didn't want to be in the doghouse, per se. But, Coach, everybody, understands that we're facing a big challenge with the defense that Missouri brings to the game. You know, the speed that they have on their defensive line and the plays that these guys make is going to present a big challenge to my offensive line. If you would, could you just kind of explain when you have that type of a front four that can put that pressure on, what it kind of allows the defense to do and what it would take for our offense to counter that?
Right. Well, you know, I don't think I know our people and what I read and hear and just through osmosis of being around, and I think this sometimes affects our players, and certainly we've done everything we can to get our players to really respect this team that we're playing, because this is a really good team. I mean, they won 10 games this year. Their defense is really first in conference games for the season in the SEC, ahead of us. In terms of how they played. And they have some great quickness up front, two defensive ends that lead the country in sacks and tackles for loss. I mean, very, very quick, very fast. They do a lot of stunning and movements up front, which, you know, creates challenges for the offensive line. And also in the passing game in terms of pass protection. So this is a very, very good defensive team. Now, the question you ask about what does that allow them to do, well, you know, to me, when you don't have to create pressure, all right, and you can rush four guys and affect the quarterback, then you can play a lot simpler, sounder, don't have to take as many risks in the secondary. You know, you can play cover two, you can play quarter, half, you can play a lot of things that don't stress the defensive backs out to where you give up a lot of big plays. And that's what they've done. You know, everybody says, well, Georgia dominated them. You know, Georgia gained the yards that they gained. They didn't have one play in the game of more than 18 yards. Georgia did not have one play of more than 18 yards. All right, which, you know, we make a lot of big plays on offense. Well, their defense is really good at not giving up big plays because they do a great job of disguising in the secondary. They pressure the quarterback. They've got good stunts, but they can do it with a 4-man rush, play a lot of cover 2. They got big corners. They jam the receivers. So they don't have to put a lot of stress on themselves and get the secondary in bad position where they give up big plays or get somebody isolated one-on-one with a good player. So I think that's what having a really active, good front allows you to do. And it's going to be a challenge for us to, get a hat on a hat and be able to finish on these guys up front so that we can run the ball effectively. They love giving you negative plays. They give people more negative plays than anybody. Then that plays right into their hands of what they want to do of, okay, we got you behind in the sticks, so now we can pin our ears back and go, all right, and play zone and break on the ball and make you throw it faster than you want to. That's exactly what they want. That's what you got to eliminate. And if you can stay ahead of them in the sticks by being able to have balance in what you do on offense and being able to run the ball a little bit, I think it makes a huge difference on being able to keep the ball against these guys.
The two big uns coaches talking about up front. Shane Ray, 13.5 sacks in the season. Marcus Golden with 8.5. Pretty impressive numbers. We have a fan standing here at the corner of the bar at Bob's Victory Grill. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
I'm Johnny McDonald from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. How you doing, Coach?
Doing good, buddy. How are you?
I want to congratulate you on a couple of things. You got the greatest team in America, number one. You got the prettiest wife in the SEC, number two.
You got that right.
And you're my same age, and you look like you're 45. So I don't know what you're doing right there. But you got Murphy and Hansborough, the two backs for Missouri, and they're dual threats. And then you got a running quarterback in Matty Mock. What you going to do to stop them?
Well, that's a really good question because these guys do have two really good running backs. Both are not great big guys, not small guys, but not great big guys, but really fast and explosive. And they're in spread most of the time. A lot of times with 4 wideouts, probably their number one, even though they do it with a tight end, which is more difficult to defend because you don't know whether the tight end is going to be in the core or spread out. So it affects how you can play on defense. But we're going to have to do a really good job up front. And I think what their offense does a great job of is because they can run the ball effectively, they do a great job of seeing what you're in, counting how many people's in the box, are you playing middle of the field coverage or split safeties, and then we're going to be in the best advantage play all the time. So if you're in split safeties, we're going to run the ball. We got these fast guys. There's a lot of space, a lot of make them miss, get the ball on the edge. And then if you load the box, they know you're in middle of the field coverage. They've got a couple really good receivers. They're going to throw slants and chop routes and different things to beat man-to-man middle of the field coverage. So they're all, and this is the advantage of no huddle, to where it's almost not fair. And I think we're more productive on offense because we're in no huddle now. And we take advantage of some situations that we've never been able to take advantage of before by seeing what the defense is in and being able to call plays accordingly. And that's what they're very good at doing. So not only are these backs really good players, they're also running the ball sometimes when you're not in the best defense to stop them. So I think the number one thing you have to do is disguise what you're doing, have to change it up on them, and I think you got to do a really good job up front of being disciplined and gap control. Now, the running quarterback part of it, this quarterback is really fast. All right, and if everybody thought that the guy we played against last week was really good scrambling, all right, this guy is probably faster. And he has actually run the ball a lot more than what we saw last week in terms of scrambling and then making first downs on third down and things like that. So, but you have to use the defensive line. The defensive line has to do a really good job of contain. And, the one thing that this is absolute death against guys like this is getting pushed by the quarterback. I mean, it was death a couple times to us last week. All right, and people don't notice those kind of things. But if I'm sitting right here, or Tyler's the quarterback, and I rush past the quarterback, then that defense over there now is playing with 10 guys. It's only a 3-man rush because I'm out. I'm gone. I'm done. He's going that direction. All right, so, it happened a couple times last week. A couple times we lost contain, scramble, make big plays, make third down conversions. So the one word that I would use, how are we going to stop them? You got to play with great discipline. You got to disguise what you're doing and play with great discipline. The combination of those two things will help us. When we didn't play very well in the first half last week, that's why we didn't play very well. We didn't execute very well. We didn't have very disciplined eye control. We lost contain on the perimeter. We didn't get the front set right a couple times. The defensive backs got run by because they were looking at the wrong thing. They're supposed to be looking at the receiver, maintaining position on them, looking at the quarterback. So discipline, eye control, disguise what you're doing, and you got to play really good team defense against a team like this.
All right, as we go to the first break, congratulations to you, the Dodd Trophy Coach of the Week. Nice honor. Did you know that?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. The Dodd Trophy is given to the Coach of the Year, and they select the Coach of the Week. That was you.
Great.
All right, we're going to come back with more questions for the coach coming up next. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Tide fans, make University Mall part of your football weekend game plan. Avoid the campus traffic. Take the Tuscaloosa Charter Tide Ride from University Mall to Bryant-Denny and back for just $10. While you're here, enjoy great shopping, dining, the area's best selection of Bama fan gear, and special Crimson weekend savings. We're West Alabama's in-place to shop for over 30 years. That's University Mall. Roll Tide.
On game day, whether it's on the field or at the tailgate, the best rise to the top. Because when the Crimson Tide are driving to victory, there's no compromise. That's why Ford delivers available EcoBoost engine technology that offers a winning combination of power and efficiency. Just another reason why Ford is America's best-selling brand. Check out F-150, Fusion, Escape, and the all-new Expedition at your local Ford dealer. America's best-selling brand based on 2013 calendar year sales.
The Tide will be rolling soon, but if you haven't gotten your Bama Banking Visa check card, you're not really ready for kickoff. Bama Banking, exclusively from BBVA Compass, is the perfect way to show your pride in the Tide. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama. Bama builds champions. At BBVA Compass, you can be a champion too by sporting one of our limited edition Bama Banking check cards. Sign up for Bama Banking and show your pride every time you use your check card. Call 1-800-COMPASS or go online at bbvacompass.com/Bama.
100 years says a lot about Cooper Tires. It's adjusting to the growing demands of our customers and the roads they drive on. It's a century's worth of innovation delivering the most advanced tires on the market. Case in point, the all-new CS5 Touring Tire, designed for the way real drivers really drive. There's no other tire like it. Come in and see what 100 years of innovation looks like with the all-new CS5 Touring. Cooper Tires. Life's a road trip. Come on, let's go.
Blake Sims, play action, loads up, looks long. Amari Cooper behind the D. He's got it. 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Bengal. 75 yards, burning Jonathan Mincy. Man, did Bama need that.
Certainly did. Eli Gold, the voice of the Tide, calling all the action of a 55-44 Bama victory over the Auburn Tigers last Saturday in the Iron Bowl. Welcome back to the Superstore Crimson Tide SEC Championship game preview. Tyler Watts, you're sitting up here on the stage with us. When you were the quarterback, what would you have given to have an Amari Cooper?
Well, I was fortunate enough to play with a lot of really good receivers, but Amari is definitely special in kind of what he's able to do. But you know, I think the play calling is incredible also, of being creative in ways of getting him open. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to a player making a play.
Well, 13 catches for 224 yards, 3 touchdowns. The SEC Offensive Player of the Week. He was the National Offensive Player of the Week by the Walter Camp Foundation and the Athlon Sports Player of the Week. I think he could very well be our first Biletnikoff Award winner. I don't see how anybody else can be better.
Well deserved.
You look at this game coming up Saturday, and I would think that he's got to be a key, but what other receiver would you look to as maybe a key player on Saturday?
Well, Andrew White has had a majority of the other catches. He is a nice complement in his route running, what he's able to do. The screen there at the line of scrimmage has been very effective all year long. But also the backs coming out of the backfield and some other guys that are getting a catch here and there. I mean, all of them contribute and take a little bit of focus away from Amari and put that much more pressure on the defense.
Yeah. Definitely putting the pressure on the defense. Coach Saban back with us on stage. And, Tyler, you get the first question in this segment.
This team appears to play with more visible emotion from outsider looking in than teams from the past. Now, you talked last week after the game about channeling that emotion in a positive and in the right way. Now, enthusiasm can be contagious. Do coaches ever struggle with catching on with some of that enthusiasm and losing their focus? And what can you do as a coach to help them if that ever is the case and getting that focus back where they need it to be?
I really do think that it's just as challenging for coaches, to keep their energy and enthusiasm where it needs to be, and also to keep their focus on the things that you need to be focusing on. I mean, first of all, the number one thing that players should focus on, with all the hoopla surrounding whether it's last week's game or this week's game or whatever it is what do I have to do to play well in the game? What do I have to do to block the guy I'm supposed to block? How do I dominate my box? How do I dominate my space? Whether I'm playing receiver, whether I'm playing quarterback, whether I'm a defensive back and have to cover or tackle, whatever it is. So, but how much does someone really think about that relative to sometimes you get relief syndrome because we won last week's game and it was a big game and there's meant a lot to a lot of people. So now I'm supposed to get some time off and relax, and why are we practicing again so soon? And why do we have another game? And why are you harping on us to get ready for another game and pay attention to detail and focus on what we need to do? And so then you got the emotion of last week's game versus this week's game. So there's all these factors. All right, then some people get caught up in, well, this is a big game because it's the SEC championship game. I mean, but playing your position well, it takes the same thing to play in this game as it did the last game or the game before that or the game before that. And the preparation should be that I want to be able to anticipate what's going to happen. So I know it's going to happen before it happens because I'm that prepared that I can recognize what the defense is doing or I can recognize what the offense is going to do relative to the splits or whatever it is, receiver location. So these are the types of things that I do think are most important in teams playing well. And I think that it's not always easy to get everybody to focus on that, players and coaches, because they sometimes think of too many other things, too many other factors. And sometimes you give the other team too much credit and think, well, we can't do this because we can't block this guy, or we can't do that because we're going to play this. And then all of a sudden you're not doing what you do best. So all these things are factors that, you got to make sure you're putting that energy that you talked about in the right place to do the right things so that you give your players the best chance to be successful, when the time comes.
Was it tough this week to get the team off the emotional high of that huge win?
Well, I like the way the players have, responded this week. And, we had what I like to see is as the week goes on, the practice gets better. I like that. I think a lot of times when you guys are all fired up on Monday practice and flying around by the end of the week, they're flat as a pancake. So, this week they've kind of every day they've been a little bit better, a little bit more focused, better execution, better understanding. So, I like the way they've done that to this point.
All right, we got a fan here at Bob's Victory Grill. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
My name is John. I'm from Tuscaloosa.
How you doing, John?
Good, Coach. How are you doing tonight?
Good.
Coach, you touched a little bit on the ability of Missouri to get pressure on the quarterback. And on the flip side, though, our offensive line has given up in an SEC low 11 sacks all year. And considering like the injuries to Cam Robinson, Brian Vogler in the Western Carolina game, and even Ryan Kelly earlier in the year, how difficult has it been to maintain that continuity? And what does it say about our coaches and our players and their mental preparation and how they've kind of approached just being able to maintain that consistency as the season's gone on?
Right. Well, I think you have to give the coaches a lot of credit and Lane Kiffin a lot of credit for the fact that, we don't probably drop back pass, quite as much as we did a year ago. I'm talking about just getting the shotgun. All right, here they know that you're in the gun, here's the back, whatever. All right, so now you know where the quarterback's going to be. All right, so the first thing I think we do a good job of is Blake is athletic, but we do move him. So they don't know where he's going to be, for sure. All right, and we do a lot of multiples from a formation standpoint. We move the back, we motion to empty, we do all these things, we reload people from empty. So all those things make it more difficult to pressure a team. It creates multiple adjustments for them. And I think we've done a really good job of that. The offensive line has done a really good job in their protection. All right, and I'm really pleased with the way they've progressed and done well all year. But you also got to understand that the quarterback has escaped pressure a lot where they can't get him on the ground, which is a huge asset. All right, and he's been able at times to scramble for first downs in big games and make big plays when he got some pressure. But we have not busted a lot of protections, all right, where we just turn somebody scot-free and they get a big hit or a sack on the quarterback. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things that have created that. But I think the system has been helpful. You know, last year, we dropped back a lot, and we put a lot of pressure on the offensive line to protect the quarterback because they knew where he was going to be. I think we're doing a better job both ways this year.
One of the guys on that offensive front, Ari Kwanjo, today named second-team academic All-American, the Capital One team. So congratulations to Ari. Let's go on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to Hartselle, where Joe's on the line. Roll Tide, Joe.
Roll Tide, Tom.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Doing great, Coach. Just a quick question, comment. We all know this is our next game, but I think our biggest win of the season up to now has been the Arkansas game.
I'm sorry?
Say again, Joe. You're saying that the biggest win was the Arkansas game? Is that what you're saying?
I think it turned the team around, Tom.
Okay. And I don't think there's any question about that. That's when I went off on everybody we won the game 14-13 and everybody was complaining. And I think that's when this team, learned how to not be so worried about losing a game and playing to keep from getting beat all the time rather than having fun. And, Tyler even mentioned the fact that you see more energy and enthusiasm from the players. Well, it's all happened after that game. It started in that game. And that was the most important win of the season, and I really appreciate that there's somebody out there that recognizes that beside me, because that's when I went off on everybody because everybody kept saying, there's all this bad stuff going on. And that was a real turning point for this team, I think, from an emotional standpoint, from playing and having fun, as a group, enjoying each other, all the things that you like to see a team do. And more than anything else, I'd love to see this team have success on Saturday for them, all right, because of what they've done, what they've accomplished, how hard they've worked. And I really, really mean that sincerely, because this has been a special group. We talked about the resiliency they have earlier. Well, I really appreciate that and the way these players have responded to some tough circumstances all year long.
Tonight's first question for the Nick Saban Show blog at AL.com is Blake in Huntsville. He's noticed you've used many more defensive backs in the rotation this year. Has that been due to injuries solely, or do some backs match up better against certain teams?
Well, I think some guys, especially when we, play nickel and dime against a lot of these spread teams, sometimes, Jarek Williams is a more physical star for us. And if we play against a team that is really a good running team in the spread, like Mississippi State, for example, they're going to run the ball a lot. Well, maybe you want the bigger guy in there. Last year, he played great against Auburn for us a year ago, playing that position. If we think we need a better cover guy, then Gino's more like a corner. So, sometimes we'll play him. Well, when we make those changes, it changes because Gino plays safety. So when we move him to start, put somebody else at safety. So, and we have had some injuries at corner. Eddie was hurt early on, and we played other players. And, Bradley had a tough time early, but he's come back on strong now. So, but, all the players have kept working and improving. And we certainly didn't play the way we wanted last week in terms of all the big plays that we gave up, but played a lot better in the second half. And hopefully the group will do a good job on Saturday, because this is This is a tough team to defend from a pass offense standpoint as well.
We're at the half hour. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Show your Crimson Tide pride with officially licensed University of Alabama merchandise from the Soup Store. Shirts, hats, other gear, every size imaginable. Soupstore.ua.edu. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Jan here, and Toyotathon is on. This year it's so big that I got an intern.
Jan's intern here. Come in for huge deals on new Toyotas. Toyotathon is the biggest event of the year, and it ends January 5th.
No, I say that.
Okay, what do I say?
Can I get your dry cleaning, some coffee, a big piece of cake?
Toyotathon is on. Get 0% APR for 36 months on a new 2015 Toyota Camry. Offer valid November 4th through January 5th, 2015. Zero down with approved credit. Monthly payment for every $1,000 financed is $27.78. Excludes tax, tag, registration, title, and dealer fees. Cannot combine with other offers.
Hey, Tide fans, when you're getting ready for this week's game, stock up on Golden Flake. Pick up your favorite bag of Golden Flake potato chips, Tostados, or cheese puffs, and you'll be ready to tailgate like a true Tide fan. Golden Flake, the favorite chip of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
The best choice you can make is a big bag of Golden Flake.
Dogged determination, painstaking perfection, an uncompromising will to be the very best. These are the things that make a winner. And you'll also know a winner by what they wear. University of Alabama apparel and products from the Soup Store. The Soup Store has the licensed merchandise you want, including shirts, hats, and other gear in every size imaginable. Show your Crimson Tide pride. Go to soupstore.ua.edu. That's SUPE store.ua.edu.
Hey, bartender, 2 Coors Lights.
You got it.
I need 2 Coors Lights! Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
2 ice-cold Coors Lights. That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
Cold hard fact. When it comes to Rocky Mountain Cold Coors Light, remember, 21 means 21. Coors Light reminds you, with great beer comes great responsibility.
Here's Sims, straight drop, looks. Everybody's covered, he's going to run. He's to the 10, he's to the 5. He's going to go to the angle of the end zone. Touchdown, 11 yards. Blake Sims gives Alabama the lead.
Welcome back to the Soup Store Crimson Tide SEC Championship game preview. One of those wonderful plays by Blake Sims and the Tide's 55-44 victory over the Auburn Tigers. That has such a nice ring, doesn't it?
Always.
Always. And you had that speed going around them too, didn't you?
Look, I've talked all year long how jealous I am of his ability to elude a rush at the last second. Now, he waits till the last second, and I can only imagine how big those defensive ends' eyes are getting, thinking they're about to get a sack. And then he says, I don't think so, not today. And then what he's able to do with the ball afterwards.
To me, the difference between Blake Sims of the last 2 or 3 years and the Blake Sims now is he makes better decisions of when to pull it down and make those plays with his feet.
Yeah, ever since the Florida game, you remember he dove forward and kind of hurt his shoulder a little bit. He's smart with it. And I think he's been smart all year long about when to be aggressive running the ball and when to just take what they give and then get down.
All right, before the coach gets back up here, you and your sweet wife, Jana, have some wonderful children. You want to shout out to them? I'm sure they're listening at home, aren't they?
Well, I hope so. Either that or she's running around trying to spank one of them for causing a bunch of problems. No, I got 4 wonderful kids, Tanner, John, Tyler, Harper, and Chandler. And my wife, Jana, does an outstanding, not only tonight, keeping the kids, but also during the course of the season with my obligations on Saturday. I mean, she's a trooper there at the house, keeping all of them together.
It always pays to have the great wife.
All right, I'm taking over the show here for
All
1 second.
Go.
All right, this is my gift, our gift to Tom Roberts, who's retiring this year after 36 years.
Oh, fantastic.
36 years.
A helmet with a 3-6 on the side. That's outstanding, Coach. Thank you. Well, that's wonderful.
And, I just really want you to know that most people don't know this, but Tom has been so supportive since he's been here and so helpful on TV shows and all kinds of things for me. And the one thing that I will say about him that other people might not like, when I came here, nobody wanted to change anything. But he was willing to do whatever I wanted to do. All right? And that's why I love him. And that's why we've always gotten along great, and I really appreciate him, and I appreciate everything he's done for the university all this time. So
thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Tom.
I really, really do appreciate that.
Good.
I'll never forget that first meeting in his office. He used the remote control to close the door. I was scared to death.
You already just look at it.
That's right. All right, Tyler, you
Which
get to
one?
start the
Which
second
one?
half hour. The tier.
All right. What brings a tear to your eye quicker? Bear with me. Being asked a question about a sad movie you've recently seen, the birth of your first grandchild, or giving up 630 yards to Auburn?
Well, the thing that is most joyous to me that would bring a tear of joy to my eye is my granddaughter.
Yeah.
We don't like the fact that, Auburn got all those yards, but I'd rather them get the yards and win the game.
Amen to that.
Not give them a lot of yards and, have them not be able to win the game. So, and I feel that it's our responsibility as coaches that we have to do a better job to get our players in a better position to be able to play. But I will say this, that, what people don't understand is when number one plays for Auburn, not that I want to talk a lot about that game, he makes a huge difference in their offense because him and 18 and the quarterback and the running game and the fastball create a lot of matchup problems. All right, when they just have 18, it's one thing, but when they have them both, it's really, really difficult because to me, those two guys are really good players, and they're mismatched players because they're big and they're fast, and if you don't have the right guys to cover them, you got problems. And we did a lot better job in the second half, and I think that's, something you got to give the coaches credit for, Kirby credit for, our coaching staff credit for, and our players going out there and responding and doing a better job in the second half.
Speaking of coaches, how happy are you for Jim McElwain getting the head coaching job at Florida?
That's a fantastic opportunity for him. Mac did a great job for us, and he did a great job at Colorado State, and really, really happy for him and his family. He's a great person, a good guy, and I'm sure he'll do a great job there.
All right, a fan here at Bob's Victory Grill with a microphone. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Joe Trawick right here in Tuscaloosa. Coach, with us having the opportunity to make another appearance in the Georgia Dome twice in 1 year, does that create sort of a springboard as far as recruiting coming up for the next year?
Well, I think that playing in a lot of these neutral site games, which are early season games, obviously, has helped the exposure of the program, especially early on before we were all that good. And I know what really kind of put us on the map is when we played Clemson, over there in Atlanta. I think the second year we were here, and they were like 9th in the country, and, we won the game. And, then we played Virginia Tech a couple times, and they had really good teams. So I think those kind of national games is what really gave you a lot of exposure. But I think anytime you play in your conference championship game, that's huge in terms of, the credibility it gives your program, as well as, the exposure that it gives the players, and the program and the university. So I think that playing in different places is beneficial from that standpoint, especially in these sort of big national games.
Let's go on the Academy Sports and Outdoors hotline to Lake Jordan, where Lisa's on the line. Roll Tide, Lisa. How are you tonight?
Roll Tide. I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Super. Good, Lisa. How are you?
Really good, and I agree with you about the granddaughter. I have one who's 2 years old. So.
Well, congratulations.
But I had a couple of comments and then a question.
Okay.
Saturday night I was at the game, and it was the loudest crowd noise I had ever heard at the stadium, even when we were losing. And I just thought that was really good that usually when we get behind, the crowd tends to sit down, but we did not do that. And I noticed that I had seen your players interviewed this week by ESPN and all, and they were kind of making fun of them because they all had the same answers when they asked the questions about what about the national championship game, and they answered, we're just going to focus on the next game. We're going to focus on the next game, and they said you sound just like Coach Saban. And my question for you is, can you give us an injury report on Brian Vogler and the others?
Yeah, everybody's been able to practice pretty much this week. Brian Vogler has practiced. D. White has practiced. TJ has practiced. He's still probably not 100%. He's got a little way to go till the game comes. Denzel Duval's practiced a little bit, but he's probably the most questionable guy. Ardarius Stewart has practiced. So all these guys are probably going to be game time decisions. But they all been able to practice, which is encouraging. And they've all been effective enough to feel pretty good about the fact that if they don't have any setbacks between now and then, they all may be able to contribute in the game.
Coach, our second question from the Nick Saban Joe blog at AL.com is from Johnny in Talladega. He said, what's the one motivational tool you use to keep your red shirts from getting down due to their lack of playing time?
Well, I think that, one of the things that we try to focus on with our young players, even when we recruit them, is I try to sell guys on the fact that they have to focus on development, not on immediate self-gratification for, playing right away or whatever. And I use a lot of the examples of, I don't know how many first-round draft picks that we've had, but very few of those guys actually started when they were freshmen. A lot of them played, Dre Kirkpatrick, he's played on special teams. Landon Collins played on special teams when he was a freshman, but he didn't really play that much on defense. So, Mark Ingram, he shared time with, Glenn Coffey when he first was here. Then with, we always had 2 or 3 backs that played. But all those guys have done extremely well. So, but they didn't all start when they were freshmen. Julio was one of the guys that did start when he was a freshman. Amari Cooper eventually started when he was a freshman. And I try to say to them, what do you want to accomplish as a player? What is your goal? They tell me what their goal is and what they want to accomplish as a player. And I say, well, you have to develop and work toward that goal. And how you manage the situation that you're in now in terms of learning what you need to learn to be the best player you can be is going to determine how fast you get to that goal, and it's also going to determine how fast that you play.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we do it, and we even do it that way in recruiting and try to sell them on the fact that they have to develop as players, and they will improve. And I use a lot of those examples to show them how guys have done that here in the past.
It's got to be really tough on them because they're used to playing, aren't they?
Well, they're all used to playing, but, it's also tough on them to come in, in August, or even if they come in June, which most of them do, and learn everything they need to learn to be able to play.
Yeah.
I think receiver and running back are probably the 2 positions that are easiest for a guy to play. Because first off, they don't need to know everything to play it. If you can run 3 routes and you're really good at running those 3 routes and you can get open, if you know those 3 routes, you can put a guy in to run those 3 routes. If you're an offensive lineman, you have to know everything there is to know, because if they run one stunt and you don't block it right, the quarterback gets blowed up or the running back gets blowed up.
Yeah.
So every position's a little bit different. Same thing on defense. You might be able to play defensive line some as a freshman because your mistakes can get covered up by the linebackers or the secondary. But if you put guys in the back end and they don't know what they're doing and they bust the coverages, they're giving up
big
plays that are consequential to the outcome of games. So all positions are a little bit different in terms of how much knowledge and experience you really need to be able to contribute and play winning football.
All right, we've got one final break, a few more questions for the coach. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running? That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
Who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really, really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Okay, kids, who remembers where we're all going to meet in case of an emergency?
Grand Central Station.
Times Square.
Higher ground.
Where's that?
The mountain, son.
But we live in the city.
Good point.
What about supplies?
Your mom has all those canned beets somewhere in the apartment.
What about water?
We have a few gallons stored in the basement.
We don't have a basement.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency. Who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
Marshall steps up, sidearm throw, caught at the 10-yard line. He is not going to get there. They stop him. They stop him. He made the grab at the 10. He needed the 6. And Marcus Davis denied, and Alabama takes over on down.
Great play by the Bama defense, the red zone defense. We'll talk about that in a second or so as we welcome you back to the Superstore Crimson Tide SEC Championship game preview. Tyler Watts, that was one of the most impressive parts of the ball game to me, was that Auburn got down to so many times to the red zone, but Bama forced them to kick field goals.
There's nothing as frustrating for an offense to be able to march the ball up and down the field but not be able to find the end zone.
Coach, I would think that was one of the proudest parts of the game for you as the head coach. It was the way your guys did play in the red zone.
Well, it was the key to the game. I mean, it was the difference in the game, really. Even early on in the game when, we were, playing fairly well, they kept getting the ball down there in the red zone, and the guys did a great job of getting them stopped. I think, 5 field goals in the game?
That's right.
And all of them were sort of red zone kind of field goals. I mean, they were inside the 20-yard line and had a chance to score, and that was the one really good thing that we did. Defensively has really played well in the red zone.
Missouri very effective in the red zone on offense. They've scored on 35 of their 38 trips inside the 20. That's amazing to me.
Amazing. But when you can run the ball,
yeah,
I think that's what makes you a really effective red zone team, because it makes your passing game so much better. And then when the field shrinks down there, you have to play a lot more man-to-man to stop the run, which makes it a lot more difficult to cover the receivers, especially on the pick routes and the flat routes and the bunch routes and things like that. So, if you can sit there and play, I call it red 2 or red 7, where you got 7 guys dropping and there's only 15 yards of space, it's not very many, not a lot of holes to throw it in.
All right, Tyler, you got one more question for the coach?
Yep. Missouri over the last month has pretty much been in a playoff type of scenario themselves. You win or you don't represent the East, and they have performed. Now, you touched earlier on not overlooking this football team. Talk briefly, though, how after graduating so many NFL-type players, Missouri has found themselves again in the SEC championship. Just how good Coach Pinkel and his coaching staff have done with this football team.
Well, I think this is as good a coach team, as well a coach team as we've played against, all year long. They don't beat themselves. They really don't beat themselves. They don't turn the ball over on offense. They're very sound in what they do on offense. They're difficult to defend, not because they do these multiples of 1,000 different things, but because they execute what they do so well, and they always put themselves in the most advantageous position, which to me is what good coaching is all about. And their defense is really, really well coached. And they disguise what they do extremely well, disguise the coverages. You hardly never know what they're playing pre-snap. And, you know, their players do such a good job of executing the system and the scheme that they have. And you know, to me, that is absolutely what is the sort of trademark of a really, really well-coached team. You know, Gary Pinkel started with Don James just like I did. We played together. And that's the kind of coach Don was. And I think we both sort of learned that this is the best way to have a good team, is to be this way.
Tyler Watts, thanks for being with us tonight.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
We'll look forward to having you at the Georgia Dome on Saturday. One other question about Gary Pinkel, Coach. What kind of player was he?
Good, really good.
Really good one?
Yeah, a lot better than I was. He was a tight end and a really, really athletic, good receiver. And really is a good guy and has been a good friend for a long time. And, you know, I told the story in one of the interviews that may or may not have been out there, but, you know, Carol James, Don's wife, called Linda just to check on us this week. And Linda said something about, well, who are you rooting for? And she said, well, both of these guys are my boys. And I just have to root for both of them. So
that's neat.
Coach James really had a big impact on both of us. And, you know, really was the guy that got me to even want to be a coach. I didn't really even think about being a coach. He saw something and asked me to be a GA, or I'd have never even been a coach.
Well, one more question about your team. Austin Shepard did a great job at right tackle, moves over to left when Cam goes down. He's done a really good job this year, hasn't he?
Really good job. You know, really good guy, really good leader. You know, there's givers and takers in this world, and, you know, he's one of those guys that is a real giver. I mean, he really does give a lot to do whatever he can do to make the team, you know, successful. He spends a lot of time helping other players. He sets a really good example. I mean, his leadership has been really instrumental in, I think, developing the team chemistry that we have on this team.
All right, you've got the final word presented by Mercedes-Benz.
No, I tell you what, Tom, tonight, since this is your last night, you always tell me that, you know. You get the final word, Coach. What's the final word? Well, I'm telling you, I want you to have the final word. So you give us a final word, then I'll give you one.
All right, the final word is go to the Georgia Dome and finish. If you're a fan, go to the Georgia Dome, be there when the Tide gets there, and scream and yell as loud as you can throughout the game. All right, how's that?
That's good. I appreciate that. You know, I do want to thank the fans, you know, for last week's great stadium. I mean, what energy and enthusiasm, and there was no give up in the fans, and there was no give up in the team, even when things weren't going well. You know, everybody really supported the team, and it was a great atmosphere to play a college football game. But, you know, we could create an advantage for ourselves in this game, too, all right, because we usually have a lot of fans that travel over there to Atlanta. It's really close for us, so we need everybody to turn out, be there when our team gets there, and really support our team emotionally in this game, because it's going to be a tough game now. Everybody should get ready for a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. We're going to need all the support we can get.
Coach, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the gift. See you at the Georgia Dome.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, man. Thanks, Tyler.
Roll Tide, everybody. We'll come back, wrap things up in a moment. This is the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield Sports.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent, 1 in 260,000. The odds of him having 15 career NASCAR victories, 1 in 1.7 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 68. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. It's kind of like an elephant is on my chest. I feel like I'm choking. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
I'm John, a volunteer at United Way. I'm here at Lincoln Elementary School to find out what this place needs. Who knows better about what kids need than kids, right? Let's ask them.
Monsters! Lasers! A pool! Another guinea pig! More lasers! Sprinkles!
I was thinking more spinach at lunchtime and maybe more exercise.
Nah. Lasers are cool.
When it comes to creating healthier communities, what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to UnitedWay.org, because great things happen when we live united. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live united. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Attention business owners, just in time for the holidays and the new year, the official Alabama Crimson Tide wall calendar is ready. It's the ultimate Bama wall calendar, your favorite team displayed in action-packed photographs with your company's logo and custom message. It's the only way to have your company's message in front of your customers for 365 days of the Crimson Tide. Minimum order, 500 calendars for $1,500. To order your Crimson Tide wall calendar, call Cameron Burdick at 205-348-9613. Be the hero of your tailgate this season. Go to eatatjacks.com to place your order for the ultimate fan fuel. Get your team ready for the big game with Jack's delicious hand-breaded chicken fingers, fried chicken, sides, biscuits, and more. Jack's now a proud partner of the Crimson Tide. Now let's talk about Sport Clips. You're a guy, and when you need a haircut, you need it right now. So come on in, because at Sport Clips, you never need an appointment. Visit any of our Alabama stores and ask for the MVP service. Sport Clips, it's good to be a guy. Well, that just about does it for our Superstore Crimson Tide SEC Championship game preview. Great evening with the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nick Saban, and with Tyler Watts, who does a super job for us on the pregame and postgame shows here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Let's update you on a couple of other things going on with Alabama sports right now. The Bama women playing at Foster Auditorium against UT Martin. Christy Curry's team leading that one 63-49. This is a UT Martin team that beat Alabama a year ago. Christy's got things going for the Bama women. So does the other tenant of Foster Auditorium. That would be Ed Allen and the Alabama volleyball team. This afternoon, they posted the first NCAA tournament match victory in program history. The Tide knocked off Samford 3-2. Kat Hudson had 23 kills in the match for the Crimson Tide. Bama now 26-7. And Coach Allen and his staff watching Florida State and Jacksonville play right now. Bama will take on the winner of that match tomorrow night for the regional championship down at Tallahassee, Florida. So congratulations to Ed Allen and the Bama volleyball team. Well, we've had a great time tonight here at Bob's Victory Grill. Now we're all headed to Atlanta, Georgia, to the Georgia Dome for the SEC championship game. Very frequent appearance for the Crimson Tide, but the second straight year for the Missouri Tigers as well. Our coverage will start at high noon Saturday. It'll be Todd Robbins right here at Bob's Victory Grill, Tyler Watts in the Georgia Dome. Then when they finish, Eli Gold, Phil Savage, Chris Stewart, and I will bring you full coverage of Bama's effort to win its 24th SEC championship and head on to the college football playoff. Our thanks to Tom.